The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of NCTV, its officers and volunteers, or Cox Cable or Frontier Communications, their employees, or the town of Newington, its elected officials or employees. The producer of this program is solely responsible for its content.
Oh, hi, how are you? Good to see you. And you remember everybody said, whatever happened to Mayor Woods? Well, there was a big demand to get Mayor Woods back. So I said, okay, can somebody get Mayor Woods back? And as it turned out, they got the wrong Woods.
Yeah.
This is...
I'm an imposter.
Yeah, this is Don Woods. Hi, Don.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
No, it's great to have you. And the mayor may be sliding in any minute. We know that he did have a meeting right before this program, so we just moved Don over, and the mayor could be arriving any minute. We do know, all I know, is the last words we had was that he had a meeting with the town manager. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but he did have a meeting he had to go into, and then he was going to, I think he went into makeup, and then he'd be coming along after that. So if you're tuning in right now, and it is the 2nd of July, it's the first Monday in July, and that means it's the Talk to the Mayor program. We are on the air live. We have been doing some texting, so you can either call in at any point during the program at 667-5814, 860-667-5814. Jot that number down if you have any questions along the way for our mayor or for Don. And you can also text us at 860-305-9801. And I have that right here, 860-305-9801. Everybody seems to be doing a lot of that texting stuff these days. You do the whole thing here? You live on one of these things?
More than I used to, yeah.
It's hard to get away from your business.
It's hard to get away from it. It's convenient.
And I know when you go away you pretty much disappear for a good portion of the first 2 or 3 months of the year.
True.
Because you work your fingers to the bone. Right down to there, and you need a little time.
Justification,
okay.
Right?
So you go away for a little.
Yeah, but I use text there quite a bit.
And you still work from there, right?
Yeah. Well, today with Skype and Viber, it's easy to call. Isn't
it something?
Yeah, it's a lot different than when I first started going there.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. There was a time I wish that we didn't have any of these things at all anymore, because now you can never hide anymore.
Yeah, but
can't say I missed your call anymore.
No, but you know what? The good thing about it is even like with voicemail, you actually get to hear what the person's voice sounds like, the actual interpretation of what he means or she means, versus someone in the office explaining that, hey, Mr. Parker called, and I think he's upset, and really he wasn't. He was just, needed urgency to get in touch with us. So, but no, I like it. I don't use it as much as some, but I like it.
Oh, I know.
But when I go home, it's off.
Yeah. Well, and really, in all fairness, I mean, if you get home and it can drive you nuts when you're sitting around and all of a sudden everybody's doing that kind of stuff.
That's where the voicemail comes in handy. I'll call you in the morning.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And the texting, I got the carpal tunnel thing going on now. My hands are really from doing all this and the computer stuff. I think the doctors are probably making a lot of money on all this stuff.
Well, I'm not quite that bad, but I use text and I use the phone.
Well, I will say that's how we got a hold of you.
That's right.
I texted you and I said, quick, can you come in and talk about the extravaganza?
Right.
Bill DeMayo is away on vacation, and usually Bill comes in. And he said to me the other day, he says, would you mind if I got somebody to basically cover for me? I said, sure. So it was Monday afternoon, and I hadn't found out who was covering for him yet. So I went over to Parks and Rec, and they were pretty busy over there, so I called Don. Now, Don, how long have you been with Parks and Rec? You're the chairman.
The current chair, yes. I've been on Parks and Rec, to the best of my knowledge, about 34 years.
Really?
Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge?
I'm not positive, but it's been at least that long.
Now, when you first got involved with it, was there... was it because, the obvious thing is, your landscaping and everything else, was there an interest to get involved because of, Parks and Rec does take care of all the property and stuff? What was it that drew you to Parks and Rec and to get involved there?
Well, I really wasn't too much involved in local politics or local, volunteerism, and I think I just wanted to get involved, and it was something that interested me, and I was lucky enough to get on, and then I've been lucky enough to stay on for all these years.
How many people are involved over there?
11.
Okay.
You mean on the board?
Yeah.
11.
Now, is it like any other? Are you appointed to it, or how do they come up with those 11 people?
Political appointment by majority.
Okay. Is that similar to how they do planning and zoning?
I believe so. Yeah. I think all the boards are by political majority.
Okay, so you've managed to keep both sides fairly happy with you?
Well, no, I'm not. I haven't always been chair. I've been chair out of the time I've been on. I think I've been chair 7 or 8 years out of the total. And last year, the last term was Beth Mankey. She did a great job.
Oh, really? Now, when was that?
That was 2014 and 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then when you first got involved, what does the board do? What kind of voting? Do you vote on different things in town or budgets, or what is part?
The board is primarily policy. So if there's a fee increase or a new program or something that's going on in the park for capital improvement, those all come before the board. Day-to-day operations in the parks and grounds, for example, that really doesn't come to us unless there's a problem. And then at that point, we got a report every month on what the activities were. But in general, it's just policy.
Well, how did you guys approach Bill DeMaio when he was retiring from New Britain, or how did that come out? I mean, we're so lucky to have him here, and after almost like 30 years or something in New Britain. Wasn't it a long run over there?
I think he was there 31 years, and when the current superintendent, the previous superintendent, Bruce Till, announced that he was going to retire, I think the process was they went out and had people apply for the position, and then there was a review, and it was narrowed down to 2 or 3 candidates, and Bill came out on top.
Isn't he amazing, though?
He is amazing. I was seriously thinking about getting off the board, quite honestly. I'm saying, well, I've done this a long time, and maybe it's time to move on. And I worked with him the last few months that I was chair before the election. And I said, you know what, this is going to be a really good thing for the town, and I want to continue to be part of it. So I stayed, and I'm glad I did.
Now, do you have to, and I mean this in a positive way, he seems to have the energy and ideas and all this stuff. So are there times when you as the board got to kind of like rein him in and say, okay, let's go with this pace? Because it seems like nothing stops him. If he needs money to get it done, he gets the money to get it done. He is like the Energizer Bunny. I don't know how he does it.
He is, and all his ideas are terrific.
Yeah, and I say, for a man who's legally blind, his vision for Newington is better than anyone's ever had in that position.
Better than anyone I know, and better energy than anyone I know, and with proven results.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit. We were at the pancake thing that they did back a few months ago. To thank the police department for everything they do, and they do like a pancake breakfast. And he comes over to me and he whispers to me, he says, "Steve, there's a microphone over there. I'll race you to it." He loves the mic, maybe even a little bit more than me. He's not afraid to get out there and get in front of people.
No, not at all. He and his memory, you don't want to challenge his memory. I think because of his disability, he has to remember things, and he doesn't forget much.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that.
And he is, firsthand, I've seen it, he's an amazing negotiator. And if you give him a price, that's not the price.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of whatever he does. And once he does something with his sponsors, and he does get a sponsor, he over-delivers for them. He super serves anybody who gets behind any of the events he's involved in.
Yeah, all of our events, thankfully, have been quite successful. And he's really energized the department and the staff and the board. I mean, he's done a great job. He really has.
Now, the extravaganza is coming. What are the dates of the extravaganza?
The extravaganza starts on Wednesday, the 18th, and runs through Saturday, the 21st.
Now, apparently, Bill was saying that we're trying to get back to the Life Be In It name of it, too.
We are calling it Life Be In It. This is the 37th annual Life Be In It extravaganza. I think that was originally something that the National Parks and Recreation Association came up with, but if my memory is right, Bill, the first extravaganza, Bill was here as an assistant or something. And I believe he got the whole thing going with a Life Be In It. and it sort of disappeared for a while, and now it's back. And it's a very popular event, very popular event. I'd say 40,000 people are at the event, and it's town-wide and the regional-wide as well. It's not all Newington people, of course, but it's a great event. It really is. When the weather's good, the event is good.
All right, if you're just tuning in right now, this is the Talk to the Mayor program for the 2nd of July. And nice to see you here, Mr. Mayor.
I'm glad I could finally make it.
Well,
it was
funny.
Two meetings before this and had to get rid of 3 days worth of growth on the face before I came in here.
Well, they said that all we know is that he did have a meeting with the town manager before he came here. And I'm going like, maybe we better get going. We thought kind of hard to walk out of one of those meetings. But no, you're looking pretty dapper.
Hey, for 94 degrees outside, why not?
Yeah.
Isn't it
Why
brutal?
not?
I think the past couple of days have
Oh,
been trying.
and it's not going to get better anytime soon.
No.
Now, when you were here, when did you work within the town hall and stuff, Mr. Mayor? When were you doing like the techie stuff there?
I started originally in 1977, and then the techie stuff starting mid-'80s till the end. Yeah.
So he's familiar, obviously, with the life behind thing.
Oh, yeah.
He and I go way back.
Yeah, I've known Roy for
Years.
years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years.
Anything you want to tell us?
That was private.
No, well, it's interesting.
We have a pact.
Well, but what's really interesting, though, is for the people that don't know the mayor's passion, he's really very much an outdoorsman, environmentalist, and all the birdhouses down there at Young Farm and probably in other places around town.
I just led a butterfly walk at Cedar Hill Cemetery
You what?
a week ago Saturday. Of course, I was on my electric scooter, and they had the paths mowed for me.
Really?
but,
And there was a walk at the
and yeah, we had about 24 people that started off, and by the end, 12 left. But it was a good crowd. It was a lot of fun.
And where was this?
Cedar Hill
I think
Cemetery.
the one in Hartford, right?
Yeah, right at the end of the turnpike.
We started in the Hartford section, ended up in Wethersfield, behind the mausoleum. There's a grassy area.
Yeah, okay.
And it's got the wildflowers. Saw deer, saw rabbits, saw 10 species of butterfly. Saw poison ivy. Luckily, didn't see any ticks, although I know they're out there. So
That's a beautiful cemetery. I forget.
Oh, I know, yeah. Angela's dad is over there. It's amazing. It's just about every time we go there, we see deer.
oh yeah, they're all over the place, all over the place.
And they do quite a bit up there. I mean, like they do all kinds of events at the at Cedar Hill.
They do. The board of directors has long held this philosophy that the cemetery is as much for the living as it is for the inhabitants. That's why they keep the programs going. They have the informational programs. They have some evening music programs.
Really?
The big one is the Haunted History Night coming up in October. That one's a sellout. That one really is.
And the Memorial Day is wonderful.
Oh,
I've been to
yeah.
that. That's a great recognition. So how are we looking for this year's extravaganza? Back into town.
You betcha.
I think we're in good shape. Some of it still is coming together, but as far as the carnival, that's pretty much locked in place. It'll start Wednesday at 5 o'clock and go to 10 o'clock. The same for Thursday, same for Friday, and then Saturday is 10 to 9 p.m. just before the fireworks starts. You can buy individual tickets for the rides, but the best deal is these wristbands, and you can buy the wristbands in advance if you choose. You can get a 4-day pass for $60. So you can ride as many times as you want on each of the days, and that saves you $15. You can buy a 3-day pass for $50, and that saves you $10. Or you can buy a 2-day pass for $40, and that saves you $5. Most people buy the passes.
Now, tell us a little bit, excuse me, as long as you're talking about the carnival, what's involved as far as, I mean, there's got to be a lot of safety checks that go on. You always hear stuff of these unfortunate accidents at these carnivals. So can you give us an idea of what we do in town as far as inspections of everything goes? And is that a fire thing or police? Or
I think it's both. I think it's fire and the state police.
make sure everything that's, running up to speed and everything?
Yeah, they come through and go through everything. I don't know the particulars if the carnival has to have does the carnival have to have a license for the town? I don't really know for sure.
I think there's some sort of permit, and I remember they tried to bring a tented carnival in a few years ago, probably 15 years ago, and that one didn't.
That didn't fly with the fire marshal.
Not at all.
But our carnival operator, he is a terrific guy, and he's very, very generous to the town. He puts on a good show, and I think he's been there since day one, and he's really a nice guy. His name is Tony. I can't tell you his last name, but he's a terrific guy, and people appreciate the rides. There's maybe 15 or 20 rides. Most of them are geared towards teenagers and adults, but there's some for kids as well. And some of the rides have height restrictions, which we try as best as possible to make it clear to everybody when they're buying the tickets, if they are buying individual tickets. So I think it runs pretty seamlessly.
If you're just tuning in right now, this is the Talk to the Mayor program. Of course, you can always call in and talk to our mayor. Our special guest this evening is Don Woods, the chairman of Parks and Rec. We're talking a little bit about the extravaganza, but our phone lines are always open at 860-667-5814. We also do text at 860-305-9801. And we do have a call right now. Mr. Roberts is on line 1, and he has a question about mail delivery here in town, Mr. Mayor. So I got a feeling it's not email delivery. I think it's snail mail delivery. Mr. Roberts, how are you tonight?
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Hello?
We got you. Go ahead, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah. I wanted to ask the mayor about mail delivery because the carriers.
You got to turn your TV down.
If you could, Mr. Roberts, I don't know if your television is on or not, but if your TV's on in the background, we won't be able to hear you ask a question. So if you've got your TV up, if you could turn your TV down, then we won't have interference.
Okay, I'll try to do that. Hold on. Can you hear me okay now?
That's better. Go ahead.
So the carrier a lot of times just
I think we lost him.
And calling the office, post office, and they never pick up their phone. And I know I saw an editorial in the paper that other people have had this kind of problem.
Okay, let's see if we can handle that, Mr. Roberts. Vicki, if you want to take Mr. Roberts out for us, because unfortunately we can't hear him that clearly. Mr. Mayor, we did have a question about...
I see that here. Mr. Roberts is asking whether the mayor can do anything about the post office never answering its phone and about mail carriers randomly skipping houses along their routes. Well, the mayor wishes he had that kind of power.
Isn't that something along
the mayor
federal?
Wishes at times he had absolute power, but you've got two separate levels here. You've got the municipal government. The post office is a federal agency that's really on its own. It's more a commercial operation owned pretty much by the federal government. I mean, all I can do is suggest sending a real letter to the postmaster of Newington, Connecticut, and trying from that. The post office website, USPS.com, may have a contact us link in it to relay the complaint.
Yeah, but I think just what you said, Mr. Mayor, start with the postmaster in Newington.
Yeah.
And just say, whoever's delivering in my neighborhood skips the houses from time to time. You could just, I don't know who it is. My mailman doesn't seem to come to the houses all the time, and just talk about the fact that nobody picks, because if it's the squeaky wheel. So if somebody doesn't complain about it, they're not going to know.
But then again, there could be a valid reason for skipping the house.
Probably the big dog.
No, there's no mail.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, why do they keep skipping my house? Nobody's sending you anything.
Except this time of year, don't forget what's gone out.
Oh, yeah.
Ours came today.
Yes, you got yours.
Yes, I got mine, too.
I got mine.
Did I get a little preview of it a week or two ago, too, or is this the first mailing today?
This is the first mailing.
It's the first mailing. I better open what the other envelope is from the town of Newington.
We're talking about the tax bills, and there was a holdup in the processing by the contractor, which is why they're a little later than normal. And hopefully that'll be shaken out. Again, be one billing. There are two envelopes. You can either use it for your car tax and one for your real estate, or use the second envelope for the second real estate payment in January.
And do we have a nice increase this year in our taxes?
Yeah, I think it was up about 2.5%. And we can attribute most of that to the cutback in state aid that we had to make up locally.
Now, I just want to, and I'm skipping around you a little bit here, only because there were a couple of other questions.
Don, of course, has a vested interest in that. He's a long-standing businessman in town, and taxes hit businesses same way as they hit individual homeowners. They affect your bottom line.
Yeah. But, you know, no one likes to pay taxes, of course.
That's right.
But honestly, I think for the services, there's a value that's associated to the taxes. So I'm one that believes in paying a fair share, and I think the taxes are fair.
Good.
So, but if you want to deduct them, I'd be happy to talk to you and
maybe work out a little deal. You know, you got some flowers.
No,
he's
seriously,
interested in the birds and the bees. Hey, you never know.
I think we have a very good town and very good services. And I talked to some friends that live in similar-sized houses as mine. They live in Wethersfield, and they're paying more, and they don't have the same services, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nobody likes them, but I think it's fair.
Well, you have to stop and think what you're paying for when you come right down to it. I mean, if somebody is breaking into your house, you know, you pick up, you call 911, and a couple of police cruisers arrive because they're on the job because of the taxes you pay. Fire, you know, ambulance, both volunteer organizations, but there are costs associated that the town assumes for them.
Does anybody get a break? I mean, is there anybody like that offer? Like we used to do something about like helping the firemen out or something. Can we give any breaks in taxes for like volunteers in town? Do we ever get into that?
Not so much for volunteers. Veterans get an exemption. There are exemptions or deductions for disabled. There are some breaks for the elderly below a certain income level. Those off the top of my head are the ones I can think of.
All right, 860-667-5814. 860-587, no, 860.
No. Let's try that one again, Mr. Parker.
667-5814, 860-667-5814. Gary Bowles, you know Gary?
Everybody knows Gary.
Gary's got a question. Now, Gary, I don't want you to think this is a setup because it's you, Gary, but we have been having some issues tonight with our telephones, so hopefully we answer your question. Even if we can't hear you, ask it. So, but go ahead. The question is honesty and transparency in government. Gary, what do you got?
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
And I mean this question in a very kind way, Mayor Roy. Do you believe in honesty and transparency in government?
Yes, I do.
Okay. My second question is then, do you think it was right for Joshua Schuman, the chairman of the BOE, to tell every taxpayer in Newington that we will never find out why the superintendent of schools resigned his position?
Well, I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, yes, I could see where you'd want it. However, don't forget, we're not in an ideal world, Gary. We're in the real world. There were negotiations going on. I am several steps removed. I did go through the same situation with the former town manager, So in a way, I can sympathize with Shulman. I know that's sort of a waffly answer, probably not what you want to hear, Gary, but it's the best I can give you.
Okay, but this certainly isn't honest or transparent as far as I know.
There again, and don't forget that the Board of Education is an autonomous organization. That there is only so much the council or the mayor, for that matter, can
I
direct and
understand that,
do.
but I still think that they do owe the Newington taxpayers a complete explanation on this.
Well,
We're paying his salary.
I'm going to go out on a limb here because people know that I have a vested interest in this, but I do want to say, Gary, that I don't know how it goes because people ask for, even when we've had a lot of stuff happen in this town because of freedom of information, and that can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes you're glad you have it, other times you wish you didn't have it. But I believe that when they have executive sessions, that's probably where you draw
My
the line.
question,
Right?
Mr. Parker, was not to you, though.
No, I know. I'm just trying to clear it because unfortunately, Gary, I've got to hang up the phone in about 30 seconds. So I've got to make sure that, at least we give you what you're looking for.
What I would suggest, Gary, is if you have an idea, if you want specifics.
I mean, no doubt that Dr. Collins was an excellent administrator, but he certainly didn't follow federal guidelines regarding this spill.
Well, we know that already from the consultant's report. I mean, that's a given, and that is, I hate to say water over the dam, but that's what it is at this point. We live, we learn.
And you all know that the DEP and the DEP has not actually decided yet whether they're going to find the town of Newington about this bill.
That's correct.
And if they do, we're in for a big bill because they fine by the gallon and 14,000 gallons that were spilled, not leaked. Well, leaked, but not spilled.
Yes. We're starting to lose you, Gary. You're starting to break up. I don't say that to get you off the phone. I just wanted you to know.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
Let me
All
also
right.
say, Gary, I mean, if there are things you think are available in record form, things that are covered by the state's FOI statute, there's nothing stopping you from requesting them in writing from Mr. Shulman as chairman of the board.
Okay. I will do that.
And he has, I believe, under the statute, 4 days to respond, to acknowledge your request, not necessarily to provide you what you requested, but to say, yes, I've received it, we're working on it. Go that route and see what you turn up.
I will do that.
That sounds fair.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
Gary.
Gary, thanks for calling.
Have a good night.
You
Take
too.
care.
And Gary, he's very, obviously he's very active in the meetings too, and we appreciate that. He has the passion, just like Rose does and some other people here in town. We say, oh, it's so-and-so again and so-and-so, but unfortunately, I mean, a lot of things need to be discussed, and fortunately, people like Gary do ask questions. But also, please understand that when I've got a lot of things to cover on the program, I don't like to cut anybody short. But once the point is made, then I have to, that's how we have to go. So, thank you, Gary. And nothing against you personally. It's just that I've got a few different things we got to cover with the program. But, Mr. Mayor, I thought you addressed that well. And if Gary would like to do freedom of information and go to Josh, that's. Maybe we can get into that a little bit more, but let's get into the extravaganza. Then maybe we can
All
go.
right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. We have time. If we got a few minutes, but let's get back to Don. We've been jumping around. All right. So it starts on the
on Wednesday, the 18th.
Okay.
Okay. And I just want to go back to the cost a minute. On Wednesday and Thursday, the individual bracelets, which you can ride all night from 5 to 10, are $15 each. Mm-hmm. On Friday night, the same bracelet is $20. And on Saturday, the same bracelet is $25. Of course, Saturday is the larger day. You can ride from 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. So again, tickets are available if you want, but it's definitely to your advantage to buy the bracelets.
Are they available online, or do people have to come in?
You can buy the packaged bracelets. I think, let me see if you can get them online. Just a minute. I know you can get them in the office.
Okay.
I think you have to get them in the office.
Okay.
Okay.
And is there a general number that people can call Parks and Rec and
Yeah.
get some of these questions answered?
It is 665-8666.
665
86
86.
66.
All right.
Very satanic. 666.
66.
The triple sixes.
Yeah.
So now, again, take us right up through through what's happening each night, if you can.
Okay. So the carnival is the big attraction.
Yep.
Besides the
That
fireworks.
goes on all the time.
Right.
Yep.
And then on Wednesday night, we're trying something new tonight. It's called Sundays on Wednesday and the Family Tie-Dye Party. The Sundays are free and the tie-dye is free.
Really?
You can bring a T-shirt, what do you call those other things? Cutoff, is that what they call them? Well, I think they said, let me get there. T-shirt, tank tops, pillowcases, etc.
Oh, okay.
But whatever you bring has got to be clean.
Okay.
All
okay.
right? And they'll tie-dye it for free. And then we're also going to sell for fundraising. I love it. I love Newington Extravaganza T-shirts for $8 each.
Okay.
That's going to be from 6 to 8 at the Data Mail Pavilion. And this event is sponsored by the Church of Christ.
Okay.
Okay. Helicopter rides are also on Wednesday, and they're from 6 to 8 p.m. at Mill Pond Park at the soccer fields.
Helicopter ride?
Helicopter rides, yep.
Wow, how much are those?
$45.
Really?
Yep. And it's about a 5 or 6 minute ride.
That's all they need.
Take you out and bring you back. It's
5
very
or 6
popular.
minutes too much for in my case.
Yeah,
I don't like leaving the ground.
They always sell out. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
popular. And that's sponsored by Stan Meddy Century 21.
Oh yeah, he's good on that. He's been doing
He's done it, I think
several
it's
years now.
third or fourth year he's done it. Yeah. And then we have something new again for Thursday. It's a Tiki Falls water slide. This thing is 2 stories tall. And
We're not going off the real Mill Pond Falls.
No,
Okay.
no, it's
that made me a little nervous.
It's this gigantic water slide that they
Really?
bought, the Parks and Recreation Department bought. And that's going to be Thursday from 5 to 8 at Mill Pond Park baseball field. And on Saturday from 10 to 4. Both days are free.
Yep.
But on Saturday, you need to, this is sponsored by...
both days, excuse me, both days meaning which 2 days?
I'm sorry. Thursday
Yeah.
and Saturday.
And Saturday are both free, okay.
And it's being sponsored by Rosenberg Orthodontics. So on Saturday, you need to go to Rosenberg Orthodontics booth and get a ticket.
Okay.
On Thursday, you just show up over
Okay.
there. Okay.
Now, Saturday's the whole craft thing,
The
too.
Saturdays, the craft, the food trucks, the whole thing. On Thursday, which is a regular concert in the park night,
Yep.
we're going to have something new again. This is being sponsored by Connecticut Beverage Park.
Okay.
We're providing free wine and free crackers, and we're asking you to bring cheese. So come
sounds good
enjoy.
to me.
Yeah.
BYOC.
Bring your own cheese.
Bring your own
Yes.
cheese. And of course, you need to be 21 years or older. But you can sit and enjoy the concert, whatever you like.
Okay, so they're going to provide wine
Wine and crackers.
and crackers, and you bring your cheese.
bring your own cheese.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Friday, there's hot air balloon rides. And those are
Put the whole council
$10,
in
I
it.
think.
There's the hot air.
The whole council in there because they got all the hot air.
Yeah, you don't need the propane. That's sponsored by Remax. Now, there's a typo that evidently went out. So in our flyer, it says they are $10, but the reality is they are $15
To go up in the balloon?
to go up in the balloon.
Okay. There's just one balloon.
One balloon that's
Okay.
sponsored. It's a big Remax balloon.
Okay. And how many people can they put in the basket?
I don't really know. Not many. Maybe 4 or 5.
Okay. Okay. Well, so that could probably sell out too,
It's
right?
tethered to the ground.
Yeah, it's tethered to the ground.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. It
okay.
goes up just, I don't know, 20 feet maybe or something. And if it's very windy, like last year, I think they wound up canceling it.
Really?
It was just too much wind. Getting back to the politicians. Let's see. And then on Friday, this is a real big event as well. It's local craft beer tasting and then the concert in the park.
Wait a minute. Thursday, we've got the wine, no cheese and crackers. So we have wine, crackers, bring your own cheese, and there'll be a concert that night.
Yeah, and then that night, let me tell you who's
On
playing.
Thursday.
Yeah, who's playing that night. What it is.
Well, what is it?
It's a band.
Oh, okay. I thought had to guess who was in
What
it,
it
like
is.
who's on first.
And that's free. The concert is free. All the concerts are free.
Okay. And then Friday is another concert.
Right.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Friday is the Yes, Friday's a concert at the beer tasting. So,
Okay,
yes.
do you know who's playing for that one?
Yep. Hold on a minute. It is, sounds like,
Head over heels
it's here someplace. Where'd you see it?
for the beer tasting.
Oh, I'm looking in the fine print. You got the big
Oh,
print.
well.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
You know, mention beer, I'm there.
Yeah. So it is head over heels. New England's head over heels.
Okay.
They don't. I called today when I found out I was doing this. They don't know who the beer craft vendors are going to be yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
The list will be announced, I believe, on Friday. But last year they had to have, I don't know, 7 or 8 different, maybe more.
So
different
the
beers.
list will be announced what Friday? The Friday that it's
They'll
taking
know,
place?
No, this Friday they'll know who is
Okay.
coming.
End of this week.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to find out, call the office.
Okay.
And they can tell you who's coming.
665-8666. Okay.
Right. And that is, if you buy the tickets in advance, they're $20. You can get them at the office. I guess I have them at my office too if you want. At the door, they're going to be $25.
Oh, and if you haven't seen his office, he's got a lot of flowers there. He's over at he's over at Stonehenge, right there up on Willard Avenue. So you have tickets at Stonehenge if
I
people
have
want to
them
come
there,
by.
too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then on Saturday, it's the carnival. It's the all the arts and crafts vendors. It's the food trucks. It's the fireworks. You know, it's.
And this year, according to Bill, wants to go bigger than last year.
They are going to be bigger than last year.
We got a little bit extra money. I know he
do.
raised this year to do it, right?
Yeah, we do. We have more money. I think there's some larger shells involved. I don't know if you went last year, but the grand finale was phenomenal.
Really?
I mean, I remember as a kid going to Pope Park in Hartford.
Oh, wow. You remember Pope?
Oh,
wow.
I used to sit up at Trinity College.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I thought it was on par with that. It was
Wow.
just.
Yeah.
There was a couple lead-ups to it that I actually thought were the grand finale,
Yeah.
and then the grand finale came. It was.
I think Pope Park was probably one of the only places that did fireworks back
Yeah.
then, because we
Yeah.
all went there.
Everybody went
We'd
there.
sit on
actually.
those rocks in front of Trinity College and
That's
watch it over there.
Well, you know, my grandparents lived on Ward Place. I don't know
Okay,
so
yeah.
it was just a short walk
Yeah.
to the park, and it was nice. You didn't have to deal with all the traffic, and plus Lincoln Dairy used to be there.
Oh,
Back in the day,
yeah.
God.
You know, you get nice ice cream cones.
The picture will be black and white in just a second. All right, if you're just tuning in, this is a Talk to the Mayor program for the 2nd of July. We are live on NCTV 14. The phone lines are open, 860-667-5814. 860-667-5814. If you do have a question for our mayor, there's the number right there, 860-667-5814. We are also texting for people who do want to text, and that's 860-305-9801, and that'll come right to me. So if you want to do that, let's see. Nope, that's another message. That's not from anybody out there. It's I get alerts on here. All right. Milk and loaf of bread. Okay. And that's 305-9801 is the text number if you'd like to do that. So in general, we've got some.
One other thing.
One other thing.
On Saturday, I want to make sure we get all this in.
Pay attention.
The bands are going to be John Wallace Show Choir,
Oh, really?
Very good.
River of Dreams, Mass Confusion, and then a special appearance by Renee Danino from River 105.9.
Oh, Renee's fantastic. Yeah, she does. She's probably going to be doing a lot of the MC work. She's terrific. She's always giving back. We got all those bands playing all day?
Yeah. Well, throughout the day, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what about if people want booths? I think, did Bill say they were like $55 a booth, or what's the price for a booth?
You know,
Are the booths still available?
I think the answer is yes.
Okay,
But
okay.
there's not many left.
Okay.
There's corporate row.
Yeah.
Then there's crafters.
Yeah.
And then there's civic.
Okay.
We had a meeting at our last board meeting, and I think there are still a few booths that are left.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact price, to be honest with you, but again, 665-8666.
665-8666 is the town hall, Parks and Rec. And speaking of which, I'm glad you're here. With all the stuff that's going on, are they moving Parks and Rec out of there for a little while, or with the building thing, what's going on? I know they're moving some of the school stuff is moving over to Center Street. Because they're starting some building there. Do we know if Parks and Rec is going to be moving out soon?
They'll be staying in their existing quarters until the new building is up.
Okay.
And then when everybody else moves over, they'll move over as well.
Okay. Yeah, because they got the gym there and everything.
Yeah, they're not.
Don't we lose
They're
the
not
team?
slated for demolition, the first stage of demolition, the way the current Transition Academy and
Isn't the teen center
Human
part?
Capital Development are, that old engineering wing.
Oh, okay.
That,
Okay.
That's coming down first.
Okay.
And some big news on that front.
What?
If all goes well, finally, at long last, the job goes out to bid on August 7th.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
August 7th. And it's been a long haul. One of the newer members of the committee, the
Yeah.
building committee right here, look what it's done to him already.
I know his hair just went white.
It was black
It was
last
black
week.
just a few weeks ago. Oh my gosh! So you've been involved in that too, huh?
Well, I was involved from the beginning, but never as a member of the committee. Well, no, never as a member of the committee.
Yeah.
But someone resigned. I think they moved out of town, and then they asked if I would participate.
How
So
many
I've only,
people are on that committee?
let's see. There's
There's 7, I think.
let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think so. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we got a call. Line 1, long as you're here, Parks and Rec. Tony's on line 1. Okay. Oh, sounds like we may have some concerns with Tony. All right, Tony, if you could turn your television set down in the background. We do ask people if they call in to keep your television set down in the background because we do get some interference from time to time. All right, Tony, what's your question?
Yeah, we have a lot of background noise there.
We're gonna have to take that. Let's see if we get Tony's question off the air, Vicky. All right, so let's. We are getting some interference.
Yeah, something's wrong with the telephone.
Well, no, you know the problem we've run into, which we always do. A lot of people at home have wireless phones.
Yeah.
So what happens is our signal and their signals, even though it might even be fine in there, it could be fine in the studio.
Yeah.
That's a regular call. But when it comes over to us, there's a certain amount of time it takes for the signals, for like our signal to go out from here to Manchester and back, where that's where it's Cox home base is. So it's not that our phones aren't necessarily, they are working because we run them all the time before the show, but atmospheric stuff. So if you can get Tony's question off the air, Vicky, and then pass it through to me or Tony, if you want to text, you can text us to 305-9801. And that's 860 if you want to text it there, and I can take that. All right. Yeah, that's history, though. We're always fighting atmospheric stuff with these things. But okay, so again, how many people on this? This is the building committee?
7.
Okay. Can people come to this committee and ask questions?
yes.
So they have public meetings.
Yeah.
And the meetings are televised.
Yeah.
Okay. So but these are things that people can come to and ask questions like they do at any other.
I think it's second and fourth Wednesdays now is what they're looking
Yes.
at.
Yeah. The next meeting is the 18th, I believe.
18th. We had to scratch tomorrow Wednesday's meeting because of the holiday.
And the 18th, you got the extravaganza. How are you going to pull that one off?
Be busy. Let me make sure that's right. I think that's right.
How are you going to be able to run the Ferris wheel and?
I usually sit in the ticket booth.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Yeah,
He's,
the
John's
18th.
checking his calendar.
It's the 18th.
It's the 18th is our next meeting.
Yeah. The town committee.
The town committee meeting.
Building committee.
The building committee. People
it's
can
at
come to
5
that.
o'clock, right?
Yeah.
5
Is
o'clock.
that so far? What's the budget for this thing that we're looking for?
$28.8 million.
How much?
$28.8 million is
28.8,
what the voters approved at the referendum.
All right. 28.8 million. Think is it still looking good for that?
Yeah.
And part of your job is to keep it at that, right?
Well, they're trying to. They're working hard at it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
They have a good team. You know,
Yeah,
they
the
really
committee
do.
is really on the construction manager and the architect.
Okay. All right. We do have Tony's question here, and they're sending it over to us. As we get closer to breaking ground for the town hall, look back 2 referendums. Everyone has given up space except Parks and Rec. That's you. Did we just explain that? Do you want to explain that again?
Well, I think one of the recognized needs for the town was space such as is represented by the gymnasium, for athletics, for social events. I mean, it's not just sports leagues that'll be going on in there. Parks and Rec programs have been growing. There's been a demand for space. They've had to farm programs out to the schools, school gyms, which has resulted in additional expense to the town side because we have to pick up the tab on that. In a way, we're looking at being able to hold more in-house rather than relocating them. Another side benefit to this, one hopefully we won't need, is it gives us a much larger emergency shelter capability in the case of a disaster. Something like the Halloween storm of a few years ago.
Yep.
And that's, off the top of my head, a couple of the reasons.
We need to have a space like that available.
It's a resource we don't have that we find we can use.
Mm-hmm.
As far as less space, I prefer to think of it as a more efficient use of space. A lot of space in the current building is hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hallway because it used to be a school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not a school anymore, but you've got all this space that's essentially wasted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there again, there is a reduction, we hope. We're also looking toward energy improvements, get the solar systems going on
nice.
the roof.
Yep.
That would be nice. Get more efficient boilers going. Yeah.
Right.
Now it's not happening overnight. We're looking at 2 years at least.
If you're tuning in right now, we're just a few more minutes left. We have with us Don Woods, who's the chairman of Parks and Rec. A lot of great things going on with Parks and Rec this summer. Of course, the extravaganza is coming up in another couple of weeks. It's usually the third week.
It's always the third Saturday of July.
Okay.
The actual fireworks.
Do we have a backup if we do hit rain on the fireworks?
Sunday.
Oh, okay. So we will come back the following day.
Yep.
All right, terrific, and we won't ask any more questions. It looks, well, I can't look this far in advance. Hopefully it's okay. We've never missed them, have we?
No.
We never had to call them off?
No, never. Not as long as I've been
I
around.
don't
No.
remember.
No.
Well, Don is our chairman of the Parks and Rec, so if you have a question for Don, you can call us at 860-667-5814. Pass your question through to Vicky, some of the gang in the master control, and they'll get the questions through to us. Or you can also text us at 860-305-9801, and we'll be happy to address any of that. Don, as long as we have you here, keep you a little bit longer. How are we looking for the overall, the town in general this summer? We have that new pavilion. Is that tell us about that?
There's a brand new pavilion up at Churchill Park.
Very nice.
It was built by Parks and Rec staff.
Yep.
All through donations. Rotary donated $8,000. I think the concrete was donated by Tilcon, and the Parks and Rec staff, and another landscaping company, which I don't know the name of it, picks up a project to do civic-wise once a year, and I want to say it's Valley Properties, but I'm not positive, and he donated the brickwork in front of it. It was either Lowe's or Home Depot donated some plantings that were up there, some flowers. They came and did it with their staff. And we actually had Bill DeMayo's birthday party up there this past Sunday. And it is really, it turned out to be really nice. It's big, it's comfortable, it's shaded.
And people rent that out through Parks and Rec.
Right. I think it's $125 to rent that, I believe.
Now, and people wait in line. I don't even know if there's.
It hasn't even been
left.
open, and basically, quite honestly, the requests are already coming. I think that pavilion will be the most popular pavilion in the park.
Oh, it's a very nice piece of architecture.
The Rotary also has a fundraiser, and they're selling plaques. I believe they're $150. You can buy a plaque and get it. There's a, I guess you'd call it a soffit that goes around the perimeter of the. And you can put your plaque up there for $150, you know.
And there's more than one pavilion in town if people want to rent them out for different things, right?
At Churchill, there's now a total of 3, and then we have the old gazebo one there.
Yeah.
And at Mill, there aren't any pavilions for rent.
So you go to Parks and Rec or call them up at.
They're almost always sold out, quite honestly. Yeah,
a nice comment off the air about Don Woods here, Mr. Mayor.
It says, thank you to Mr. Woods for serving in this volunteer position for decades. Where would the town be without such civic-minded citizens?
That's very nice of you. Thank you. But, you know, when you live in a town that you grow up in, work in, and you're proud of, you feel, I feel anyways, the need to give back to the public. The public's been good to me, and I try to do whatever I can for the town, and I enjoy it. So
It was your wife.
My
Your wife was the one that sent the note.
I doubt it.
You doubt it. You don't think so.
I don't think so.
So, and the pools are in good shape, right? Okay, let's move on. If you'd like to give us a call, how are we doing? We were talking about downsizing one of them and putting in a splash pad in the future. Or,
Well,
I mean, Bill had a lot of different ideas.
Yeah,
to
there's
talk
more
about.
modern ways to handle aquatics now.
Okay.
And our pools were built; they're way past their lifetime.
Yeah.
And so they were appropriate for the time, and they've served us well. But if we ever get to the position where we have the money to redo the parks, they won't look the same. You know, Splash Park, for example, they can run longer. They don't need lifeguards, and it's much cheaper. Like, so before school gets out, they could run them. After school gets back in, they could still run them, and you don't need any lifeguards or anything like
And
that.
we could always have our pool. Is the pool in the high school open year round?
I don't know if it's
I don't
open
know
year
how
round.
I thought it was closed down. I thought there were problems with it.
Oh, with our pool over there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know about that. We'll have to look into that. Holy cow! Yeah, and you know, when we were kids, you know, swimming lessons, everything. You know.
Yeah, I think
I learned to swim in the Churchill mud hole.
I did too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had, now, did they really have a screening back to keep out the snapping turtles? That's what
Oh,
we.
yes. They're still there, though.
Oh my God, I can remember that.
Yeah, that's where we got our swimming lessons. There used to be a diving board there.
Yeah.
There was
The
a raft out there.
raft.
Yeah, there was a raft.
They had the rope separating the kids section
Yeah.
between and to be able to go on the other side of the rope, that was a rite of passage.
You knew you
That's
made
right.
it. Yeah.
You were in the big time.
Go
That
for
was
the
a ride.
swimming hole.
I remember that water
They had a
was
snack bar, too, at
Yes.
the end.
that water was cold. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God. 8 o'clock swimming lessons. It's cold.
Do we find right now? So in general, all the parks are in good shape. Everything's up and operating. The ball fields are doing well. You know,
Yeah, I think in general the parks are in good shape. We get a fair amount of compliments on it, and there's always issues that they try to address as much as possible. The synthetic field has done a great job with relieving some of the stress and wear and tear on the grass fields. You know, so yeah, I think the park does a great job. I mean, the department does a great job with limited staff, and they work hard.
And you bring in quite a few people though to work in the summertime too. A lot of
Yeah,
people,
they
a
have-
lot
they
of
have-
kids coming over there work, and they hire a lot of kids for the summer, and
I don't know about a lot, but I think there's 6 or 8 positions. You know,
and a lot of
at
volunteers
least.
still with Parks and Rec. Or
volunteers.
do we have any volunteers with Parks and Rec?
No,
Not
I
really?
think all the kids are paid.
Okay,
You know,
really?
certainly lifeguards.
Well, you know what I was thinking of back when we had. Remember when we had the playgrounds, and the playgrounds all had that. I think back
They have
then,
playground workers, but
Okay.
they're compensated.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta talk to you about that.
I don't think.
I could say I know somebody. You got a few hours left.
I think it's a high demand job. You need to get in. You need to know somebody to get in.
Oh, okay, sure. And also, I just want to point out, when we close, and this is a heads up to Scott, we've only got about 5 minutes left in the show, but what I would like to do, because you're here tonight, is towards the end of the program, Scott, if this will work for you folks, I know you've got some video of last year's extravaganza, so when we close out the show, let's kind of go out with that. Will that work all right for you, Scott? Sounds good to Scott, because we've got some great video that because Channel 14 and Patty and a lot of the crew go over to the extravaganza every year, and they get a lot of great video. So we thought we would close out the program, but because you're here and it was such a hit. We want to send prayers out to Karen Galicio's family. We
Yes.
know that Karen lost her mom. You know, just an amazing woman. What a family.
Yeah.
And you know, and Tony, and I couldn't believe how many people. I guess I could. It seemed like everyone turned out for that wake and that funeral.
You know, well-established family in town for years and years. They were involved heavily too in civic work and commercial work in town. They did a lot. His brother Danny was chairman of. I think he was the first chairman of Parks and Rec.
Really?
Yeah.
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 So no, it's sad when it happens, but you know.
What a life she had, though.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And what a legacy she leaves of
Yeah.
children and grandchildren.
And
Oh my God.
her daughter Karen is just Unbelievable the amount of effort that she puts into her job at the department.
Driving
She's
force
always
department.
here.
Yeah, and
Always here.
she's-
If I'm here in the evening doing something, there she is.
Yeah, she's dedicated. You
Yeah,
know.
and she still manages to take care of those
3
triplets.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, they got their hands full over there.
They got their
I
hands
got
full.
something I got to say.
Oh yes, go ahead. Yes, honey. The mayor's doing a pitch.
All right, I'm going to do an unsolicited, uncompensated promotion here. We're at the beginning of July. That means the Eddie Farm stand is now open.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I got my Eddie Farm honey. I got a couple of cucumbers. Tomatoes are due in a couple of days. They've started with the corn.
Oh yeah.
So
I noticed them over there today.
yes, this is the good stuff. This is native, all-natural honey. This is what you want, honey.
That's the real deal.
It's the
And that's
real
their own
deal.
honey over there.
That's their own honey.
Yeah.
So
Don't they say if you take local honey, it helps with allergies and
it
things
does.
like that?
It has the local pollen in it, and you take that and it helps build up a resistance to the pollen. And I brought this along. I just have to do this. How much? Oh, we got 2 minutes.
What else have you got? Is that the Audubon bird whistle?
No, it's the Hartford Line CT Rail souvenir whistle from,
Okay.
Oh, is it?
from the grand opening.
Oh, did you ride the train? Did you ride the
I
rails?
rode the train from Berlin to Hartford, went to the ceremony. This was on the 15th
Yeah,
of June. It's great thing, great deal going. The trains themselves, if you've ever been on Metro North, it's Metro North. Hartford to Berlin was 11 minutes. And Hartford to where a station may end up in Newington, about 7 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, and it gets some good. They get some good speed going along that thing too.
The trains are designed to hit 100 miles an hour.
All right,
And
we got
I
to.
think it's great.
I want to make sure I thank our volunteers here. We've
Definitely.
got Robert J. Blank, Michael Rosencrantz. Great celebrity appearance. We haven't seen Michael. He's been teaching all year, but for the summer he's coming back in here, spend some time. We haven't told him yet that it's not a paid position. John Donahue is still here. Scott Allo and Vicki Rosencrantz, who's always working hard and baking for us to have the cookies here. So thank you so much to our volunteers. Don, thank you.
Okay, Steve, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Read the line there.
Okay, the
thanks,
mayor is
okay.
such a honey. Our next program is going to be August 6th, so if you have any questions between now and then, jot them down and we'll address them then. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a great 4th of July. We'll be looking for you over at the
Here, here.
extravaganza. And let's go out with a little piece from last year's extravaganza. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Oh, good.